Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Thursday Potential Show. This is Thursday's Potential in Africa show, and I'm here with a new topic of the day. The topic of the day is paralysis by analysis, the reality in Africa. So, we're going to talk about a unique topic today. So, bear with me. I'm going to have a little bit explanation and recap of the week. So, basically, uh, I'll be I'll be discussing the issue with you, and I'll explain what paralysis by analysis is. So basically, we're going to start from that one. So I'm going to start with the definition of paralysis by analysis. So paralysis by analysis means paralysis, or paralysis analysis, also known as paralysis by analysis, is the state of overthinking or overanalyzing any circumstances so that a decision or action gets too much delayed or never taken and paralyzes the outcome. Or as like it's a result of overthinking. It's a result of over what do you call it, risk analyzing, over assessing, over trying to understand the fact that then this doesn't affect actually the thoughts. You can smoothen the thoughts up, and you can say like, I'm building up on my potential. I'm building up on the things that I'm going to do in the future. But it cripples one thing, though. It cripples the outcome. So paralysis by analysis is the idea of doing something, the thought of doing something and overthinking it, trying to perfect it. Then it becomes the outcome becomes delayed. The outcome becomes affected. So it doesn't actually affect the idea; it affects the outcome. So when we see in history, the one Africa or the African Union or the African unity was affected by overthinking. It was affected by power overthinking, political overthinking, language overthinking, uh, diversity overthinking. Like, how do we solve the issues with diversity and all those things? Those were also the overthinking facts that we've been doing so far. So before I jump in again, I'm gonna just have a quick prayer with you guys, and let's start the day by praying. Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day. We thank you for giving us this chance to play our role in the African unity and to plant the seed of one Africa. In the name of Jesus, we pray all this. Amen. All right. So, always my prayers are short because I do believe God understands what I'm trying to say. Um, so where was I? So let's before I jump into the topic, I know you're all curious about the topic, and I want you to come in and I want to discuss this with you. And before I do that, I want to just quickly point out something. Did you know that Swahili was the only African language? Kiswahili is the only African language. And today, because I'm saying this because today is World Kiswahili Day. So I'm just trying to point out one thing. So Swahili is the only African language that has been recognized by the United Nations, and United Nations has already declared that the July 7th to be the World Kiswahili Day by UNESCO. So I want you to remember and bear in mind about this, and it's an amazing language. I'm actually learning a little bit of Kiswahili. Karibu, asante sana. Um, okay, okay. I remember it. Uh, Mika Chavala, Tanzania, I think. Mika Chavala, Wewe, Ye, Mimi, all those things. I'm trying to grab all the. So I'm not gonna go into the Kiswahili today. So what I'm going to try to do is actually try to point out just the the 41st session of the General Conference of the United Nations Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization, UNESCO, proclaimed July 7 of each year as World Kiswahili Day, Kiswahili Language Day, making it the first African language to be recognized in such manner by the United Nations. So that's an amazing history to remember today. So don't forget to celebrate the World Kiswahili Day today. If it's late with you guys, uh, with us, it's already. I'll be going to July 8th to in a couple of hours. So um, I've done it. I've celebrated it. It was fun to remember that to know that today was World Kiswahili Day. So that's where I want to leave that one over there and then continue to my topic. So paralysis by analysis actually uh, is a topic today, and I'm okay. Always, I will be bluntly honest with you guys, and I will tell you this is what I believe in. This is my personal thought. In my personal opinion, this is the reality of Africa. Africa is suffering from paralysis by analysis. I'm gonna read again to you. Often, often we realize that we analyze. Like we focus most usually like we focus on the possible outcomes of a project, the possible outcomes of a united Africa. When we think about it, we want to perfect it in a sense. We try to make it look benefit us at some point, as a country that started it, or as a person that started it. For example, if the people, like, let's assume that Kagame and Dr. Abiy or Uhuru Kenyatta started this scenario. Let's say they started it. So they will overanalyze it, and say, like, okay, if I let Kagame lead, he's not gonna, achieve the goals that I've set for Africa or Ethiopia. If I and Kagame does the same thing, if he will say, like, if I let Abiy lead this Africa, it's all about trying to perfect it into our own narrative instead of acting upon it. Because I'm surprised by how the EU functions, because EU, they signed an agreement in 1951, then in 1952 it's applicable in every EU member states. They don't even wait until it's perfect. They work on it, and if it has, a flaw in it, because everything at the end of the day will have a flaw. So if it has a flaw in it, they will eventually edit it the coming year in annual EU meeting or EU conference. All those things were the things that made EU stronger, and stronger ally of the one of the giant nations in the world. So, and the reason, because I've been actually reading about EU, I've been reading about similar currencies and all those things, having one currency, having one like one union, which we have a general assembly in, like where we are assembled together, and for economic, political purposes, socio-economic, socio-political purposes, we are united as one nation and using a single currency. It does have, its own flaws still, but overthinking it, trying to make it perfect, will result in a scenario called paralysis by analysis. That's my discussion today, because Africa seems to be in that state, paralysis by analysis, analyzing too much of outcomes. What if we unite and we end up broken? At least we tried. This is one thing that life teaches us every day. We try, we fail. We try, we fail. Everything was done and achieved by trial and error. So basically, any scientific discoveries, any trials, the airplane didn't just come out of the blue and say, I am the airplane, fly me. The airplane, in trying to perfect it, had taken lives, had people have lost their lives, they have been broken, they have lost their friends in the trial parts. Any scientific discovery, medications, when you try medicines, vaccines, and all those things, they needed perfection. So basically, what paralysis by analysis is, not trying it, trying to perfect it without trying it. It's like not implementing the facts on the ground. For example, African unity should have been achieved, I mean, 50 years ago, because Africa knew that this is a fact that we won't fight. Africans and African leaders knew that the world doesn't want them united. That's what um, Kwame Nkrumah said. Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, the Ghanaian president, said, if it's time to unite right now, if we don't unite now, we will perish. If we don't change our ways, we'll perish. Extinction starts by overthinking. When we're overthinking, those ideas will become obsolete. Then when they're obsolete, we don't act upon them and we are paralyzed. The outcome of one Africa, the outcome of African Union, the outcome of a united Africa, I mean, let alone let alone all those things. Even the song of Bob Marley could have been enough for us to be united. It sends out a message. People have been telling us to unite. The importance, the cruciality and the importance of unity. We've been discussing it, trying to perfect it. No. It's time to realize that we are in a state called paralysis by analysis. No actions, just thinking. Just thinking. The diaspora community is overthinking. The African community is overthinking. The Black community is overthinking. We're overthinking, overworking, and we're dying out. We're basically going with the dreams that we had for Africa, with the passion that we had for one Africa, for united Africa. We're about to die. To be honest, that's what I see. I mean, I was so disappointed when I saw a video that was released by Democratic Republic Congo king or something. His Majesty, the magistrate, was saying we're gonna attack Kagame. Even in the 21st century, we had the audacity to turn upon each other. A country that suffered a great deal of loss before Kagame is going to be attacked by its neighbor. Why isn't the DRC targeting Belgium or Norway or Sweden? Not because of lack of power. It's not. That's not it. We have already submitted to ourselves to the fact that whatever the whites are doing is fine. But when the blacks do it, we question it. And I'm going to give you a simple example. If an Ethiopian hears a white person trying to speak Amharic or Afan Oromo or Tigrinya, we'll encourage them. We will appreciate it. But when, for example, when a person from Amhara tries to learn Afan Oromo and he breaks the words, he doesn't understand how to say them, we laugh at them, we discourage them. When, someone from southern part of Ethiopia who doesn't speak Amharic comes and tries to speak Amharic, we discourage them. But when the whites fail, it's okay. When the blacks fail, it's not okay. This is the mentality that Africa is basking under. We're not basking under the sun. We're basking under the fact that we are somehow subliminally affected by the fact that whatever the whites do is okay. Whatever the blacks do is not okay. That's related with the fact that black is associated with bad things. Black is associated with black market. Why is it not white market? Why do we think that the robe that we're going to wear when we go to heaven, or the robe that we wear in churches, why does it have to be white? Simple answer, simple question. That's what has been done. That's what has been taking time to construct in the African mind. And we have actually submitted to it. Even if we think that we're woke, we're waking up from that sleep, slumber, at the end of the day, we end up telling ourselves that when the whites do it, it's okay. He's a guest. She's a guest. She doesn't know our culture. We give them excuses. Why can't we give that same excuse to our neighbors? Why wouldn't Democratic Republic of Congo give that excuse to Kagame, to Rwanda? I am sorry to say this, when I saw that video, something actually hit me so hard. And I said, am I just baffling some nice words or trying to plant seed on a stone? I'm going to be brutally honest with you guys. What do you see? I see African Union overthinking, paralyzed, and they have paralyzed the outcome of African unity. I don't know what you see, but when I see it, it feels a bit shady. Why now? Why is the DRC trying to go into fights? Not only that, Ethiopian people are expecting foreigners to judge what's happening, to mediate, or to, I don't know the word, to resolve what's happening in Ethiopia from the UN, from European countries. People are expecting that. How on earth? How does that work? How does that function? I'm going to ask every one of you this question. How does that work for you? Because for me, it doesn't actually work. It feels like we have already submitted to the fact that they are better than us, or we live at the mercy of them, or we're afraid of them. I don't know what is going on, but something doesn't seem right. Why am I looking up for a European Union or for a United Nations or from Russia or from America, some kind of resolution for Ethiopia? I am Ethiopian. By default, I should be the solution for Ethiopia, not United States, not United Nations. Probably the only alternative for this case scenario is the African Union. If not African Union, African member states can just form up some kind of joint venture to make peace between Democratic Republic of Congo and Rwanda, between Ethiopian government and member, I don't know what I could call them, member regions. Africans should intervene for African matters, not the West, not the Chinese. I was so frustrated. So that's when it hit me really hard. I said, one Africa, African Union. Haile Selassie tried it. Kwame Nkrumah tried it. Steve Biko tried it. Nelson Mandela tried it. Name them. They tried. Museveni's challenging the West. Mugabe was challenging. Gaddafi was challenging the West. Yet they ended up dead. They're gone. They were overthrown. For those who were overthrown by the same people that we're expecting to resolve our issues, we're still praying for them. It feels like there is some kind of encoding that was done onto us, and now we're trying to live up to the codes. We're not trying to decode it. We're not going to only decolonize the mind, we're going to decode the mind and encode it again with African context, with African values. This is what we need to do. Africans need to wake up, realize, stop, take a moment, pause. Pause, try to understand what's going on in your neighborhood. Is it really the government? Is it really the people? Is it a fight between two ethnic groups? Is it a fight between two countries in the continent Africa? A country that we're hoping one day will be united to become a one Africa. Is it that? Is it just ethnic, religious, or something? No, it's not. We have coexisted for several years. Actually, not just years, millenniums. We've coexisted for millenniums, 3-4 millennia, peacefully worshiping nothing but just whatever we wanted to worship. Living in the same culture. Yes, of course, there were tribal wars. There were fights between members of a village, members of a tribe. Yeah, of course, everywhere. A husband and a wife fight, a brother and a sister fight, a father and a mother fight. This is it. A child and a son fight. This is, that's life. You're not going to fight off life. So what I'm going to challenge you today is, paralysis by analysis is basically lack of acting and overthinking, thinking we're perfecting the outcome. We're actually delaying the outcome. We're paralyzing the outcome. So since, 50, 60 years ago, 30 years ago, 40 years ago, the Pan-African concept was realized by many leaders in Africa. Since the Independence Day, African Union was established. Since that day, there was no unity, no single thought of unity in Africa. Why? Because there is paralysis by analysis. That's the state of mind that we're in. Last week, I said maybe the blessings of the resources that we have on the ground are the curses of Africa in disguise. Unless that's the case, then why is Africa so poor? Do we need fertilizers from Europe? No, we don't. We can actually export fertilizer to Europe, organic fertilizer to Europe. Do we need anything else? No, we don't. But we basically depend on them, and we think whatever they have is better than ours, so we leave ours and we just throw it out for people who don't understand it. And then at the end of the day, then we're out there just trying to enjoy what is not ours, sometimes pretending that we're not even Africans. At some point, Somalis don't want to be called Africans. They want to be called Somalis or Arabs. It's a tricky question because, and some Ethiopians also claim that they're not Africans. I've seen on comment sections when I was participating in different platforms, I've seen it. So basically, my question today is, how do we wake Africa from this paralysis? Because we need acupuncture, we need treatment for this paralysis that's happening in Africa. Basically, for many of the things that were happening in Africa, I really want to see what your thoughts are. Yeah. PA3SNN says, that's true. I saw a channel where a white American got 1.8 million hits for just speaking basic Amharic. Yes. Guess what? I mean, basically, when a foreigner, a European comes and marries our women, nobody minds. When an African does, people mind. I mean, a Kenyan guy marrying Ethiopian, people mind. And this is the funny thing for me. I've been trying trying, I've been baffled by this, I've been trying to understand this fact. Many of the times, I hear many Ethiopians saying, he's an African. Okay, what the heck are you if he's African? This is always my question. Whenever they say that, I always ask them, what the heck are you? Israeli, Arab, European? I even saw a TikTok video, a lady saying, we're not African, we're European. Wow. I was like, huh? Hey, then I was like, okay, what is going on? What is going on with this identity crisis that we're suffering from? I don't know. BJ Riggs is here in the comment section. She's saying, I agree, and not to mention who benefits most out of a conflict. Yeah. Who benefits? Those who are selling weapons, basically. I mean, we all know what's going to happen when people go to war, right? But at the end of the day, we're fighting. We're fighting the fights. They're just making their own money. So basically, it's for them. The fights are for them. The lives are for them. And, like, we don't care what happens to our brothers and sisters. We just want to achieve what the Europeans want us to achieve. So basically, we're trying to make them happy. So my question for you today is that why are we still paralyzed? Why is Africa paralyzed? So, yeah. Sorry, I'm trying to fix the camera. Okay, so I agree, not to mention who benefits most out of conflict. Okay, true. Grace and peace, Swahili Nation. Okay, I'm going to invite you guys in, whoever is around. You can come in and we can talk about this because I would like to hear your points, your thoughts too. So basically, here's the link. I want you to come in and just join. So I have copied the link here. You can come in. Let's just have a discussion because starting from last week, I've been discussing about the blessings of Africa being a curse in disguise. So I really need to understand that one too. If you want to continue from that one, we can come from that point on. And I remember, I think is it Pi SNN? You said that we really needed a revolution. We actually definitely 1.7 trillion %. I don't know why I said the point 1.7, but let's say 1 trillion %. We need revolution. We need to hit rock bottom, leave our comfort zone, and then fight for Africa. We need to have the ambition, not just overthinking and trying to perfect it. Let's have a one Africa. It doesn't matter how good it is. Let it be just full of, flaws, something wrong. Let's do it. Let's perfect it together. That's how I believe we should do it. So here's the link. You can come in and I'll be expecting you guys. And I want to continue the discussion with you because I don't have much to say about this because there are examples of paralysis by analysis. So basically there are steps to, to handle paralysis by analysis. For example, some of the steps are learn to recognize it. learning to recognize that we are in a state of paralysis by analysis. Like I said, um, understanding the problem is 50% of the solution. So you've reached to a point what the problem is, then you know what's holding you back, what's holding us back, then you've already reached 50% of the solution. So now the only thing remaining is you've already identified and known the case. Then the only thing remaining at this point is just treating it. So basically that's I think one of the steps. And the other step is, sorry, so in recognizing it, maybe so and exploring possible causes of overthinking, make small choices quickly. And this works for the AU maybe, and also for the future One Africa, for this soon to become a reality One Africa. We need make small choices quickly. We don't have to wait for big stuff. We don't have to come up with big plans and with big ideas, big thoughts. All we need is just small steps, baby steps, because a bird will learn to fly after trying so many times. A child will learn to swim, to walk after trying to sit first. The first step is trying to sit. The second step is crawling. The third step is standing when everyone is holding them. They try to stand on their legs. That's what they do. That's what Africa needs to do. We need to take baby steps. Not big steps once, just baby steps every now and then. Every month, some steps done, some steps corrected. For example, to go to South Africa from Ethiopia, it's like going, I mean, it's way easier to go to UK or Switzerland or Sweden or anywhere in Europe or the United States of America. It's much easier than going to South Africa. Why? Because there's huge bureaucracy for Africans coming and visiting. Why? Isn't South Africa part of Africa? Why are we incapacitating ourselves, our own member states, and we're all invested in welcoming foreigners? Investment opportunities are provided for foreigners. Why? In the name of foreign currency and all those blah blahs. I don't know where your thoughts are on that, but for me, it's a tricky perspective for me. I don't understand it. You can call it economics or anything. As long as a nation has food to eat on their plate, I'm fine. I'm gonna walk BJ. I'm gonna welcome BJ Riggs. BJ Riggs. Karibu. Welcome to my show, BJ Riggs.
Hey, people, glad to be here.
Bye.
It's just interesting what you're saying, and I just trying to wrap my head around what Kagame was talking about. Democratic Republic of Congo is having conflict with people in Rwanda, and they're starting to. It's just the way it was said. It was like, oh my God,
Mm-hmm.
but yet you have all these foreign entities over there that's benefiting from everything coming out of there, but yet they have time to fight you. What is it's just it's a
Mm-hmm.
lot. It's a lot.
Yeah. True.
The division never ceased,
Exactly.
and until you were mentioning why is it easier to for other countries to visit all parts of Africa than for Africans to visit within the continent. We want your money. Give
Yeah.
me what is mine. I own you.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want you to take your resources and benefit from it. So I'm going to put all these layers of bureaucracy around it so that you won't. And then I'll study the problem for the next millennium,
Hmm.
so no action has to be taken.
Sure. That's what's happening right now. I mean, no one sees the bigger picture. They're just fighting over the minor. This is what I call majoring on the minor. Like many people are majoring on the minor stuff, and they're forgetting the major thing that they don't want you to grow. They don't want you to develop. So they keep creating chaos everywhere so that they can capitalize on that chaos. And this has been happening in Africa for over, I don't know, 500 years now, and no one sees it. Okay,
You
what
know,
is that?
because again, is anybody on this planet afraid of an ant?
Afraid of what?
An ant.
An ant.
Yeah.
Oh, I think everyone is afraid of an ant.
But the little small little, they don't bite you.
Yeah, they don't bite you, but when they're in numbers,
And that's the problem. You guys are acting like individual ants. So that's why it's like you're not a problem if you're one. But if
yeah,
you come
true,
together, then there's you can totally take down the infrastructure.
true,
So as long as I keep you isolated, I have no fear. So my
true.
thing is, why is it so threatening if you're saying Africans aren't smart, they have no resources, they don't know what to do with what they have, we need to come over here and help teach whatever. Why are
No,
you so afraid of them talking with each other? Why is it so necessary to build these barriers and
uh,
pitfalls along the way? So if that means there's a bigger threat to this economic system,
yep,
if you're coming together, then you're
true.
being apart.
That's understandable. You're right. I mean, the ant has power in unity, but when you pick up one ant, it's easy to crush.
Yeah.
But if they're together, you can't pick one. You have to pick all of them. So that's what's happening to Africa. That's a nice, actually, metaphor. That's a good one. That's a good one, BJ Ricks.
Oh, thank you.
That's really good one, I guess. Yeah. So what you do basically when like when you have ant invasion, like in the rural parts where I mean in Ethiopia's when I grew up, um, like so when the ants come, you try to dismantle them. You distribute them to different parts, and you start
Trying to
blooming them.
reroute them.
Exactly. So you give them another direction. You see some of them breaking apart, so you have the opportunity to kill them. So that's what's happening to Africa, and Africa needs to wake up. That's I mean, okay. This metaphor actually works. It's an amazing metaphor, but why isn't Africa waking up? Why isn't Africa listening to our calls
It's
and
easier to stay asleep in a nightmare than to wake up and face it.
face the nightmare?
Yeah, because that means actions have to be taken.
Man, you're getting me good today. this is this is now you're winning. Oh man, yeah, it's actually true. Because when you're told many lies most of the time, the lies become the truth and the truth becomes a lie.
Well, they don't become the truth. We just accept it so that we
Yeah,
don't have to face
it's
it.
easier. Yeah, it's easier to take the lies in than to accept the new truth.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because nobody want to deal with reality. No.
yeah, no one wants to deal with reality. That's the issue, I think. And so we really, I mean, many people think when we think of revolution, when we think of dictatorship, when we think of democracy, there are lots of systems that were implemented in the world: Marxism, socialism, Leninism, and all those ideologies were philosophies. And we don't have African philosophy that we're running. We're just copy pasting everything that the Europeans are doing and the Americans are doing or somebody else is doing. And it's funny. It's funny that like we are also uh, crowding up for them at some point, because when there was war breaking between Ukraine and Russia, Africans were involved, and I was surprised, and I was like, wow, how is that your business? Because it doesn't work for me. I mean, like, I don't care what happens in Ukraine. I mean, I do care as a human being, but I don't care. For now, my focus basically is in one Africa. So, like, you see many Africans participating and saying, like, that we have, the biggest excuse people are telling us, we're like, we have African brothers and sisters over there. We're right. They made the choice to leave Africa and just go there. Okay, so yeah, we do have them, but why don't we capitalize on Africa right now? I mean, when we have the opportunity and when the West is not focused on Africa, why don't we work in Africa? Like, why don't we self-sustain so that our people, when they come back from Ukraine or Russia, they will have something to do and somewhere to be at.
And you have to do that. You have to do that. And even if the system is pushing against you, you still, like you said, you have to make one step forward, because if you don't, like you said, when the attention comes back to you, you're going to be at a weaker state.
Exactly.
It's like I pray for everybody in Ukraine. I pray that everything goes well, that they resolve that. That's the major conflict. But the conflict within my community has been neglected for what, 1,500 years? It's hitting critical mass, and you have to say, if we don't resolve this, we will not survive. So
Yeah.
our attentions have to be at, if I can resolve my problems, then I could be a bigger help to you. But if I, I did in the past, drop all my problems to the curb to try to rescue you, who's going to put the life preserver for me? No one.
Okay. Um. Yeah. So, what do you think is? I mean, okay. So, do you think we're in this state? Do you agree with the point that we're at a paralysis by analysis? This is the reality in Africa.
Because it's the same over here. You analyze, but if you open any book 30 years ago, 40 years ago, 50 years ago, 70 years ago, it's still, our ancestors already wrote down all the issues. So how much more analysis needs to be done? We know what the problem is, but we still don't take any actions. To me, I'm at the point that analysis means is a good excuse not to do anything. We'll study it in 5 years. We should be able to make this progress, 10 years. But when something wants anywhere in the world want to be done tomorrow, boom, it just happens out of thin air. No, it's because they want that to happen. So they want you to be paralyzed. And then, you get your scholars or study this, and yes, this is the approach we should take. And look, we were able to get a traffic light in the middle of the town that we never had. So we made all this progress, but then the whole town is falling apart around it.
Mm-hmm.
So you focus on one small thing that easily can be resolved, and you're like, well, we did something. Mm-hmm. So you guys can go back to your homes and rest and just look at the traffic light and look, we've made progress.
Because, BJ, there's one thing. Even after the scholarships, after the scholarships in Europe and everywhere, when people come back um, to their own home state, they will just copy something from Europe, and then come back and, for example, house designs. For example, in Ethiopia, you don't need chimneys. Like, chimneys are not meant to be in Ethiopia. I mean, Ethiopia is a warm country, not a cold country. So
So
people
you
go
never need to get no logs and put on the fire to keep the house warm.
exactly, but people build chimneys in their house, and it's funny. And when you ask them why they did it, and they don't even have answers for it, and they say, "Oh, I saw it in Europe." You saw it. Did you ask them what they use it for? Because this is funny for me. We don't even know what goes with Africa, what doesn't go with Africa, what goes somewhere else. And this is so interesting. I mean, like even the education that we're taking over there, that the scholarship, it's not actually working on us. It's like we're resistant to it. And education should broaden your horizon. The way you view things, the way you see things has to be changed when you're educated. That's what I see. That's what I think of education is. But that's not what's happening. We're just copy pasting things.
Well, education is more about conformity. So you're taught to conform more than to explore and to, you know, analyze, to come up with new approaches. That's not the Western way. It's bring everybody in alignment.
Yeah. I mean,
And so
it,
once you come back, you're gonna, unless you're the type of person who can look at both sides of the story or both approaches and say, okay, you're doing it this way, I can see some benefit here, you're doing it that way. Okay, that might not work, but I do like the way you're doing that there, and bring it together and coming up with something new. But most people don't
yeah,
do that. They're just gonna align themselves, and again, once you're in the Western rat race, it's just about getting that check,
yeah,
place to live. If I get on the plane every once in a while, I'm golden. So you
yeah.
don't push back on anything.
So it's all about conformity. Do you think
Yeah.
that has something to do with what the state that we're in, the paralysis by analysis? Now I call it the African reality for now, and for maybe the coming two topics, I'm gonna work on this one because I really want to see because why Africa is not into action, why Africa is not changing its ways, why we're not changing, we're not improving things. Like we're still dependent. Yeah, basically. I mean, to be honest, like scholarships and all those things are. I appreciate the people that are giving the scholarships, but when you get a scholarship, when you go there, you get into a comfort zone, and then that comfort zone is comfortable, so you don't want to come back to a state where you were, where there's corruption, where there's no functional system. For example, last week I had to do my live show in the dark because there was no power in where I was living. So, like, these were the things that you get challenged with. But you think about it and you say, like, most of the time when people ask me, why don't you leave and study in foreign states, and I tell them, like, I don't want to. I don't want to go because if I go, I feel like I failed my country. Who's going to change my own country for me if I leave? Because it's not comfortable here, you leave, then you say, like, you expect change here. I'm expecting change. I expect people to change, people's mindset to change. And because today I saw a quote that says, uh, an iron cannot what do you call iron? An iron cannot. Let me read it for you. I have it uh, on my phone, and I'll read it for you. Like, for
Okay.
example,
Well,
no can
well, I think
no
that
no
what
one
happened.
no one
Oh,
can,
I'm sorry.
no one can destroy iron, but its own rust can.
Mm-hmm.
Likewise, no one can destroy a person, but his own mindset can.
Self destruction.
Exactly. So it's all about mindset, right? We're we're,
Yeah, but
we're talking about mindset.
and the thing is, no matter where you go, you're gonna face obstacles.
True.
You're gonna face problems. I think that the thing that, and it is us as a people, we overinflate our issues where other people are smart enough that, well, I ain't telling nobody what's going on here.
Hmm.
So you're looking, thinking it's better, somewhere else. And in certain instances, it may be, but it's still going to be problems. So you're running from your home thinking you're running in a paradise, and you're just running into a different dynamics. You talk about, oh, you have your power outages. Well, there's power outages here, but they probably get the lights on a lot quicker here. Whatever. But
Yeah.
then we don't have the same freedoms
Hmm.
as you may have over there. So what's more important to you? To be able to log in on the internet and then play with your smartphone, or to be able to walk out the door and not have to worry about dodging bullets. So you have, it's a give and take no matter where you go. There is
Exactly.
no paradise on earth. The Bible already said why that happened. And we were like knee deep in the causes of that. So unless you want to make a paradise, you have to change.
True.
If you don't like the conditions you're in, you have to say, I'm gonna stop doing this because this ain't working. This is not working, and do
Exactly.
something different.
Exactly. Because
And
that's insanity, right? Repeating the same thing and expecting a different result.
oh yeah, and we keep doing it over and over. And division, the division is like, it's driving me nuts. We divide, divide, divide. You live on this side of the track. I live on that side. We're different. How are we different when we're living in the same area? And then you guys, it's all the same blood. So somebody put a square over a plot of land, and now all of a sudden you become something new,
Yeah.
because not that I said I drew the lines around this plot of land and I knew, somebody else told me what I was. That's the biggest problem I see, you guys. You need to define who you are for yourselves.
Exactly.
Pull up
True.
them books, find that history, and just start feeding it to the kids so that they know. Show them the truth.
Yeah. I
America was founded on blood and destruction.
true. Isn't every state built on that?
So I mean, yeah. So it's like, and the bullets are still flying. So while they may say, oh, the land of the free and the brave and all this other stuff, but the foundation is still weak.
Exactly.
So once you look at the whole picture, you can make an honest decision. We just look at pretty little pieces of it, and then we hold on so tight to those little pieces that once the truth comes, we can't let it go. No, no, it's really this. It's really this. It's really this. It's not.
Yeah. Okay. I don't know how to say it, but I remember one thing. I shared this today, a quote by James Albery. It says, he slept beneath the moon, he basked beneath the sun, he lived a life of going to do, and died with nothing done. So basically, this is what's happening, what has been happening in Africa so far. We've been trying to unite Africa. We've been talking about unity of Africa. We've been discussing, overthinking, saying this is the right way, this is the wrong way, this is the right way, this is how we should do it, this should be done. It should have been done by somebody else. We said all the things that we needed to say. I mean, that needed to be said, to be honest. Then what happened? Like, still we're not united. Still, it's really hard even to unite two, three countries. I mean, Sudan is trying to start war with Ethiopia. Democratic Republic of Congo is trying to start war with Rwanda, and it's like, you wonder, like, okay,
But again,
what
if
went
you
wrong?
peel the onion back, whose agenda are they executing? How does Rwanda and Democratic Republic of Congo benefits from fighting? And again, perchance, if this happens, is all that cobalt gonna stop floating out of those mountains?
Exactly.
You're in the middle of a war zone, but you can get every resource you need out of there. What make it make sense?
It doesn't actually make sense.
So it's a conflict for what? What is the purpose? What is what is the distraction meant to do? So would that then allow more planes to get more? Because I mean, I was just looking at something, and it was people were talking about, oh, we're gonna now have more robots, and now we have the robots that can now they have arms. They can like work in restaurants and like do mechanical things. Don't they need all those materials and minerals from over in the Congo? So that means they need even more than what they're already snatching.
Exactly, they need it. So
So
in
how is
Congo
this
as well.
benefiting them fighting each other? Because they're gonna still, I mean, computers still need to go. Cell phones
Exactly.
is in everybody's hands. We gotta upgrade every other minute. Every resource they need. So is this just making it easier for them to get to it in guise of there's a military action and we got to come in and help them to stabilize
Yep.
the region.
And then comes the cavalry of, um, stealing again.
Yep, at a bigger rate because it
And
still hasn't stopped.
I don't blame them. I'm okay with them stealing because we opened the gates for them so that they came in. So who cares what they stole? I mean, they're coming in. We're inviting them.
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't even make sense to fight it off. Like, why are we arguing most of the time, blaming the West for conspiring against Africa? We actually opened the gates for them.
Yep.
Then you complain. Why complain? I mean, you open the gate and then you complain. No, that doesn't work. You close the gates, then you don't complain because you didn't give them access.
And that's what needs to be done. Those gates need to be closed until you guys hammer out whatever imaginary issues you got. Close the gates.
Exactly.
Close all of them. Sit down and resolve. And it really starts with the people. It starts with getting rid of all those borders that people can't cross. Why can't I cross the border without,
Exactly.
you know, are you going to shoot everybody if they come across the border at the same time? What's up with all that? Why are you so afraid for me to talk to someone over in Rwanda or in Uganda? What is the fear in that?
Because I don't know what the fear is, to be honest, but it, people are more. I mean, even I mean, not only that, this xenophobia that was happening in South Africa, when you look at it, it's not targeting the whites in South Africa only. I mean, okay, if we direct the fight to our colonizers, I would say, like, okay, that's a fair fight. If we're directing our fight, for example, if DRC was directed 65 years ago, the Belgian King Leopold, was petting black kids, putting them in cages for their kids to play with.
Oh my God.
If I was against, like, if I was against something, if I was against the idea, the concept, if I needed an apology from Belgium, maybe I should be asking that one from. I mean, DRC should be asking that question, not actually, like, fighting Rwanda. They should be holding hands together and stopping the fights and fighting the bigger fight, the scene behind the bigger scene. This is not happening because like Congo has something with Kagame or anything. This is happening because there's a conspiracy always behind everything that's
Mm-hmm.
happening. There's somebody working, some bigger hand working towards it. And when you don't realize that, then you ruin your country, and like you said, like we talked earlier, we open the gates of hell to ourselves.
Yeah.
Then you open it and you complain.
And then the thing about it is how you know these guys with the guns going over to Rwanda are not foreign military that is there to start a conflict. Who are these people?
Exactly.
Where did they come from? You opening your gates to everybody. You don't know who's coming in. You don't know who's going out.
Yeah,
You can say you're anybody. You can say you're anything. But if your mission is to do this, they're gonna do it no matter what.
yeah, you're gonna have to at
And then
least.
their point at it's the DRC that started the problem when it's this, you know, this militia group that planted themselves near the border to start all the conflict. Like you saying in Ethiopia, it's mighty convenient that all of a sudden you got all this problem in Northern Africa in Ethiopia. As soon as that water start filling the dam up, that's
Hmm.
interesting.
Yep.
Now when there was no water, everybody loved each other. Now and don't we all need water to survive? I think we do. But now somebody saw a drop of water and now they got mad.
It's for me. It's just complete nonsense.
Well, you have to open people's eyes so that they don't fall for the okey doke. We have power in our thoughts, and if you shut it down, it'll shut down. If you
Yep.
don't participate in it, then they cannot get what they want.
Exactly.
You have
But
to
what?
shine like I don't know if you're liberal roaches, but you shine that light on them, they scatter everywhere. It's like, oh my god, But when it's dark, oh honey, they taking over everything. But as soon as you shine one beam of light, they're out of there. And this is what these people act like, a bunch of roaches. Always want to be hidden.
Yeah. Always want to please the what do you call it? The spectators. We want to please the spectators. That's the European Union and the United Nation. And many people look up towards United Nation and they say like, "What is the United Nation?" It's like, does it even exist? Basically, in the first place, it doesn't exist for me. And why is Africa expecting the United Nation? There is African Union. I mean, like, you see many people calling for United Nations instead of African Union. Kenya doesn't call for Ethiopia's help or for Somali's help or for Sudan's help. They call the Chinese maybe, or they call the the Americans, the people with the guns. But I mean, why don't we rely on our own? What I mean, how did they really code us? If we could hack the mind, it would have been, I think, the most fun thing to do. I
Well,
want to share.
just
I want
looking at politics here, a lot of people don't realize, and I've seen it so many times over, that you think a politician, they may start from the grassroots, that they really are aligned to the people. But then you find out later, once they get into a position of power, they never were aligned to the people. It's just a facade. Uh, they have already sworn their
yeah.
allegiance, and they're going to do whatever is called for them to do, regardless of how many people are hurt in the process.
Hmm.
And it's just they've been
And these are
indoctrinated, and
our
once they're
people, our own.
indoctrinated, they're not trying to switch sides.
Whew, it's painful. I remember when there was a movie in 1998. I'm gonna share that quote with you. I want you to like I want to read it here. What are we so mortally afraid of? Why can't we treat death with a certain amount of humanity and dignity and decency, and God forbid, maybe even humor? There's, death is not the enemy, gentlemen. If we're going to fight a disease, let's fight one of the most terrible diseases of all, indifference. And indifference means mediocrity. Indifference means like basically lack of interest or concern or sympathy. And in Africa, this is what we need right now. We need to fight indifference instead of fighting each other. And we're so like people are actually most of the time when you look at people in Africa are really afraid of dying and sacrificing, like giving up, because something has to die for something to be built, something has to sweat for something to be constructed. All engineers and daily laborers and all those things, all those people sweat day and night and built a pillar in the United States of America. Those pillars that the forefathers of the USA built are the foundations that people are living on today. So we need to sweat for it. We need to to bleed out for it, and then build a pillar, a foundation for Africa to be united. Nobody is doing that. We're overthinking, overanalyzing, trying to perfect it, trying to make it without collateral damage, trying to
But
make it with loss of life.
and the thing is, you just mentioned that it's like if you look at the history of any conflict, were we not there fighting for everybody else's freedom, fighting to uphold whatever democracy, communist, whatever, you know, we were
Yeah,
there. So my question is,
yeah,
why don't we fight for ourselves? It's like
yeah.
you're under a brainwashed psychosis.
True, true.
I don't want to offend anyone, but you don't mind offending yourself. Again, what about the children? What are you leaving for them? What example are you showing them? You're not helpless.
Yeah,
But if you don't make a change is never going to happen. So then you have to ask yourself is, okay, I don't want to make a change. Then are you happy with the condition that the state of your governments are in? Because by doing nothing, like you have stated in, the indifference, you're literally fortifying those actions.
mm-hmm.
And yet
True.
those systems are
Uh,
still going to continue to do what it does. And if it has to sacrifice as many of you in order for it to remain standing, it's going to do it. I mean, all these systems are designed to survive, and it doesn't care who it takes out in the process to do it.
yeah.
So it's like, it's like a choice. You have to choose
All right.
because change is not
Um,
going to happen without it.
okay. So I'm gonna invite in Pi SNN. Pi SNN, Karibu, welcome to the show.
Hey, bye.
Hi, BJ. Hi, Ebenezer.
Yes. Hi.
Yeah, just from a conversation we had last week, yeah, I think it would take a revolution, but I know you said we shouldn't be caught up in paralysis. I think this one is pretty easy. Just like I know you're Christian. It's like say the Tower of Babylon. Like we can't communicate at all. You have people in West Africa, they're speaking French. You have people in North Africa, they're speaking Arabic. In Horn, there's all kind of different languages. Central, there's all kind of different languages. South, there's all different kinds of languages. I think once we have our own platform, our own offices, our own office in Tanzania, and we have our own media, like you, instead of because you know what happened to me on YouTube today, Ebenezer? Actually, when you went live, I
Oh,
was surprised. You know, it didn't give you a notification that it went live. I only knew that it went live
really?
because I set to notify me.
Huh.
Because what happened? See, when Mika switched from doing like dance reviews, music reviews, art reviews, and he switched it to a continental platform. Some people call it Pan Africanist, Black International, that kind of thing, whatever. When he switched to that, he went from getting hundreds of thousands of views per video to tens of thousands to thousands to hundreds. So the algorithm for YouTube is not notifying people when you go live or when you make a video. Some people, they might not even get the video at all. It might not even show on their particular YouTube screen. I think it's going on for most people. So I
Oh yeah,
think,
it's a lot. That's going on a lot, and it's
yeah.
like
So
only
I think,
because so unless you know what time that it normally will stream, you won't know, and then all of a sudden they'll pop in again and maybe show you a few, and then a couple of days later it just disappears for months.
so I think it's two things really. I think once we get the office, we should one make sure that we replace the YouTube with SNN. The connections that Amika made in from Ethiopia, he has a lot of connections in Ethiopia, but actually now he has a lot of connections everywhere. Those same businesses, to see you can replace YouTube, those same businesses he made connections with, you can use the advertisements from those businesses to promote the kind of videos that we make on here, right? Which will make those videos, since it's a new platform, those videos like they'll have a lot more views, probably hundreds of thousands, millions of views, because it'll be his own platform. It'll be an SNN type of platform. That's number one. Number two, you can create a campaign where you can use that same money that you make from the videos to get like a Swahili Nation Youth League, and like maybe one in the Caribbean, one in Africa, one in the US. I know there's a lot of Black Americans, Africans, and Caribbeans in Florida. So you could probably do an SNN in Florida as well. So that way they can communicate, like different Black people from different regions can communicate and get to know each other better. That's what I think needs to happen. I think that we need to do that, because anyone could say anything, anyone can claim anything, but I think it's more about who we are, like what we can do here. Because I know like a lot of times we talk about the macro, like, oh, the resources, this and that, but we have to focus on the micro first, what we can do as individuals to make sure this happens. But yeah, that's what I have for right now.
Oh, absolutely.
Thanks. Thank you, Pi. I would like you to welcome Shegal Mari from, I think, from Ethiopia. Shegal, could you come in, please? You're welcome.
Hello?
Shegal, your mic is mute, I think. So you need to unmute your mic. Okay, I think until he comes in, we can continue. He's out. So, yeah. All right.
I think he's struggling with his connection, probably.
Yeah, something is wrong with his connection. Sam is saying, I remember saying we need to talk about the trending topics, even if the videos are very short. For example, the Will Smith slap, and
who cares about who slaps Will Smith or who Will Smith slaps? That's not gonna put bread on my table.
I don't know what Sam's politics here is. I don't know. Maybe he's trying to make some
tabloid news, man.
I think I understand what he's trying. I understand his perspective. Maybe like I said last time, I was proposing to my team to have some different unique shows. For example, me learning Kiswahili instead of talking about One Africa. Fun things in the process of learning Swahili. One, or having, for example, African Sunday. Like I go around and taste every African food that like I go to a Kenyan's house and then I taste Kenyan food. Go to a Tanzanian house and I taste Tanzanian. All those. I was these videos may be kind of entertainment. At the same time, they will give us the trending shots that we need to do. Like for example, from what I learned, to be honest, from what I learned is people like fun stuff instead of serious talks. So
and what about even the contest, the Tanzania against the Nigerian food against and who likes it best?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we need to create those videos, and then we should like hit the target group, even if it's teenagers. For example, Hayat is here saying like maybe a lot of subscribers are teenagers and therefore interested in entertainment only, and through entertainment we teach about culture, we teach about diversity and tolerance, how people communicate, what they eat. Like I will understand, I will have the access to learn about African foods, and then at the same time it's fun, it's entertaining, and then it's also sending out message. We're communicating, we're connecting. So like I'm connecting with Nigerian, I'm connecting with Ghanaian, I'm connecting with South African. This connection will create other connections, like in you know like in all over the continent. So when people see that, they will be attracted, and you invite them to the show of live shows that are happening every 9 p.m. From Monday to Sunday. Then they will come and view, and they will understand. Like they will put their, they will subscribe, they will share, they will like. This will give us a variety of viewers from all over the continent and all over the world, actually.
Well, that's an
So yeah,
excellent idea.
yeah, because I understand Sam what he's trying to say. I think, yeah, one of the point was the Will Smith slap. Some things that happen like this, if we can discuss about it, like it creates a trending in YouTube. Then you'll have a lot of viewers, a lot of access to people who need to talk about Africa. So
You know,
yeah, I
well, with
understand.
Sam, with Sam, what he's the reason why you see us doing it because they want to keep us thinking this is who we are, unruly,
That slap,
uncontrollable.
that
It
slap was
doesn't
fake.
matter how much money you got, you still gonna.
Ebenezer, that slap was fake. It's just like in Hollywood, these people, they'll pay you millions of dollars to sell your people. That's basically what it is. You see,
Yeah,
even in Mandarin, I saw shows that got like 20 million views. They were talking about it too. These people aren't even around black people every day or Africans.
But
Yeah.
that's why I originally had that response is that they want us to link into whatever messaging they have. They want us to start focusing on what, and they're throwing anything out and hoping it'll stick. But because we live in such an information age, it'll stick for 5 seconds and then it's gone to the next thing. And they need something to get everybody connected and focused on all at the same time to feed their agenda.
exactly.
And so
And
you're gonna
and
keep
I
seeing
had
stuff like that popping up. But I mean, here we got every week we got a mass shooting almost everywhere. It's ridiculous.
yeah. Hang in there, BJ. It's well, I'm not
I'm
gonna.
blowing up my tire and heading to Cuba now. Hopefully, I can get a boat that'll take me over. Once it comes to the African country to Cuba, I can float to.
Okay. I I am. I mean, we had a discussion, a long discussion with Mika, to be honest, about entertainment. Entertainment. You know, when you go to, I mean, when you come to America, I think many of the African Americans are in the entertainment industry. That's why you don't see tech African Americans, billionaire African Americans impacting the economy of America. Like they want you to be focused more on the entertainment sector,
Right.
comedy, making laugh, and like that's where they want you. And we're just playing by the book.
Yeah.
So we had a long discussion, to be honest, before even many people joined in. When One Africa started 2 years ago, when we started, me and Mika. I mean, I joined Mika, and Mika was took the initiative, and I just joined in, and we started talking about it. And I was so like like I started analyzing all the videos that I see. It's like everyone is in the entertainment industry, and like we're we're like entertainers for them, and that shouldn't be like that. Africans are not just entertainment, we're beyond that. We have the capability of building rockets, building nuclear facilities. We have the capability of studying any
and
kind of scientific,
and the thing
like.
about that is that we are doing all that. What happened? It was the late 70s, early 80s. Prior to that, an inventor could come and create something and they get a patent and then the company then say, okay, we want to use your patent to create that. So your name was attached to it. Now what happens is if you work for a company and invent something, it's the intellectual property of that company. So your face and name is not attached to it. They even were talking about recently with the medical industry, like a surgeon or whatever, may come up with the new technique, and they used to give it the doctor's name. This is the Rabinowitz procedure on, cardio, stent replacement or whatever. They're now not doing that anymore. Because now they're saying in that instance, it's unfair that it's only one doctor who did it when other people do it as well. And it's not going to be fair if it's only associated with the one person. See, it's ways that you're suppressing where it's coming from. There are, some of the great inventions that even now, the computers, the cell phone, all this was done by African Americans and stuff like that, but they don't talk about it, and unless you are, when you do really need the analysis, is just do the research on who actually invented it, how was it created, if it was what schools, research was used to develop the stuff. You have to dig a little bit to find all those answers.
Yeah.
We were allowed to be in the entertainment industry, and the food industry was like, once we came off of the plantations, that was really where we were slotted to make money. So that's why you sort of see us always in that, because that was like the only path, and then of course Mr. Ford gave us the $5 a week, and we could now work in your plants. But things haven't changed that much. But again, as far as the scientists, they're out there. They're currently out there. They're currently doing these things. It's just they want to make it harder for you to find them.
Yeah, and one of the challenges is the education system, and then the other, for what we are in, for the state and the scenario that we're in right now, the one that I on the topic, basically, the one that I'm raising, paralysis by analysis, I called it the African reality. So like the reality in Africa right now is like we're doing too much analysis, and we're scared of touching the fragile things that are going to fracture. Sometimes the fractures are the things that are going to open for an opportunity to heal together and to work together. And because the cracks, sometimes you have to let the cracks happen, because you don't know what's going to come after the cracks.
Yep.
So like people are actually more afraid of trying than doing those this the media one. We need a really good media, like Pi said. We really need to work on that one, and we need the education system to be impacted. Once we become a media, like once the office is open in Tanzania, and then once we become a bigger media for Africa, then there's one possibility that we can interview educators, we can interview educational ministers in Africa, and try to bring them to a single table so that they can better the educational curriculum according to African values and Africanizing the education system.
Exactly.
So maybe
now Hayat was talking about Nollywood, I think a while back, and I'm not sure if that ever happened. They said that was it Hollywood had bought Nollywood, in so many words? Did that happen?
I have no idea, to be honest.
I don't know, but Nollywood, Bollywood, and Hollywood, these are all the craziest. These are the craziest people in society that they want to make they want to make every Indian or every Nigerian or every white American seem like the people that are in these videos, when it's not like that at all.
Yeah, and that's why I was asking, because if Hollywood is out now on over Nollywood, that means the voices and the things that will be presented is going to be the same stuff that's presented here.
But it's literally named after Hollywood, though. So who do you think controls it?
Yeah. So so you can't really trust anything that's being fed to you, because it has its own agenda.
Of course, basically, entertainment is dangerous. At the same time, entertainment is full of impact. The entertainment industry can revolutionize a country, at the same time paralyze a country at the same in the same context. What Hollywood has achieved a lot, actually, to be, I mean, specific in many aspects of the American industrial revolution. They have told history. They have shown history to the world, and they, like, despite the fact that they're just entertainment company, but like, copying the name Nollywood. I mean, can't you just come up with something that's your own? I don't know. It's for me, it doesn't make sense. But I do agree with Hayat, because uh, entertainment industries can play a big role
Mm-hmm.
in calming a society, in teaching a society morality, in teaching a society about values. They do play an important and a very crucial role. But the problem, like I said earlier, is people are in the comedy world. People are interested in fun, not in serious stuff. Um, right, I'm a vet. I'm by profession, so I have a channel where I share professional advice to people. So when I share professional advice, people don't actually view it that much. But when I share something funny about animals, I'll have lots of views. I was asking myself, aren't people uninterested in the facts? Are people only interested in the funny things? Because that's what I kept asking. So what happened to the generation? And there are many stories and many things that we haven't told our children yet, that we really need to tell. Like with Tanzan, we were talking last time when Tanzan was on the show. I was telling her, like, we need to have days for Mandela, the Mandela Day. It has to be remembered for children. The story of Mandela should be told on that day. The same way that the United Nations is giving Kiswahili Day on July 7th. We don't have to close, it doesn't have to be a holiday. It can be just a day that you remember and talk about Nelson Mandela. You remember and talk
Exactly.
about Kwame. You remember and talk about Haile Selassie. You remember and talk about all the leaders that impacted the change and the independence of African states in Africa. So we really need to work on Nyerere, and like, all these people need to be remembered. Remembering them will give the generation. So we have African heroes. So it was
But
just a concept.
even if people are like more focused on the comedies, they love the comedies.
Yeah,
Even here, you can integrate that within scenes within that comedy, and you're teaching them about those great leaders and what they stood for, and then entertain them at the same time. Because if that's how you have to get the people, you have to get them where they are. And then maybe they're like, well, you know what? I need to read a book on Selassie because I
exactly.
don't really know a lot about him. That's the one beautiful thing around
Yeah.
America. It never takes one approach. It comes in all directions.
Mhm, mhm. That's it. We need to educate through entertainment, educating through entertainment, because entertainment
In
captures the
all
mind, then
forms
the
of
education goes
entertainment,
in.
not just one.
Not just one. Every entertainment you need to work on, how you can educate the society, how you can educate the children, especially. To be
Yeah,
honest, the adults are already adults. It's
yeah. And in
impossible
that way,
to
it can happen a lot at a faster pace than sitting
exactly.
in a school or academic environment. That way it reaches everybody. Because the kids will come home and say, you know what I learned today, and you know what we saw today, and then they'll discuss it with their brothers and sisters and parents, and then they'll just keep moving and moving, moving.
Yeah. It's like making them remember what happened to Mandela, what happened in Robben Island, what happened. It's history integrated in entertainment. You make it like a drama, a debate, or something. It can be anything that you can integrate. But like Hayat said, if the Nollywood and whatever Bollywood is, I think, in India. I don't know. Nollywood is in Nigeria, so I don't know what ours called, Ethiopian theaters or something. But so basically, if we can integrate these entertainment industries and come up with some ideas so that the artists and actors and movie stars and all those people can sit down and devise a weaponized educational entertainment movies, series, all those things, it would give a kind of an opportunity for the generation to know about itself. Because to be honest, right now, many Africans and many Ethiopians know better about Cristiano Ronaldo than Nelson Mandela.
Yeah.
So, like, basically, the entertainment controls.
It was so weird. Just over the weekend, I wind up just flipping through. God is good all the time. And my niece
Yeah,
just put on, like select this movie, and it wound up being Silverstone Siege, which was about the bank heist and what went on with the, I think it was the three people who were, you know, um, freedom fighters, wind up saying, okay, we're trapped, we're not getting out of here, let's do something, and they demanded the release of Nelson Mandela. And it's like the information is out there because I'm like, I think the director is from Africa, but it's like how many? I don't know how many people have that available on the continent because
yeah,
it's all out there.
yeah.
Yeah, but
Pi,
I think the difference is. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
yeah, yeah. Pi. I was just gonna invite you in.
Oh, okay. I think the difference is with the Ethiopian entertainment system, though, is they're using Amharic. You see, in Bollywood in Nigeria, they're using English, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
their entertainment industry can easily be infiltrated to push the agendas of non-Nigerian or non-Indian agendas. I think I heard that one of one of our panel folks here before. He's talking about how like Amharic movies, if they would do it in English, nobody would even watch them. Because it's like, oh, why are you putting these foreigners type of movie? And we don't want to hear people speak this or that language. We want to hear our own stuff. We want to hear Ethiopian type of dramas. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Well,
yeah.
I know, like in the past, we just 70s, 80s, whatever. Bruce Lee became one of the biggest film stars. All those movies were in Chinese, and they did subtitles in English, and they mouse is moving faster than the American, sound over. But everybody fell in love with those movies and know them till today. Fistful of Fury, all these other ones. But so you could literally take the things that you see that's already there and you think is useful, and just if you just put a voiceover, so you don't have to sort of reinvent the wheel at
Yeah.
every point.
True, and there are values. One thing about Ethiopian movies is still we haven't lost the values of Ethiopia in the movie industry. Um, Even though there needs to be an improvement because it's same story repeated again in different scenarios, but the movie industry didn't lose the Ethiopian value. It's still attached to the Ethiopian context, still attached to Ethiopian values, but it's not related to Ethiopian history. No one is making movies about Ethiopian history, and even the movies that you see are about, like rich people in their rich houses and rich
Yeah,
people falling in love with, somewhere. So it's still, I mean, we haven't lost the values, but we haven't improved, uh,
the same old
like
storyline.
something. Exactly, same storyline with the Hollywood and with the Nollywood and Bollywood included, and then
Mm.
at the same time, at the end of the center of it, there is romance, there is blah blah, and that's it. But we need to grow above that, and we need to start showing our children what the values of Ethiopians were. It's almost the same story, but with small touches like small touches of history, small touches of I don't know, the geography of Ethiopia or anything. They're just limited to Addis and Addis. That's it. The capital city is the center of the movie, and that's it.
What about the music though? I mean, one thing that I think is unique to Ethiopia is they have Ethiopia hope music, meaning you don't hear other nations, but you don't hear other nations. Not even where I'm from, the Caribbean. We don't hear the kind of stuff where they're talking about the battles that they won, defending themselves. They don't have those kind of music. Our kind of music is always about partying. To be honest, I think that's unique to
Yeah, I
Ethiopia.
mean, yeah, our music is also same. I mean, it's to each and every tribe in Ethiopia, there is a different clothing, a different way of dressing, and all those things. Then you see all those clothings in all the music, and people actually enjoy every music. To be honest, even when there are bad times in Ethiopia, people don't mind listening to, even if there is what do you call a fight between tribes, no one minds listening to the songs that were made in those tribes. People appreciate it and they enjoy it. I mean, like that's one thing that we really need to focus and value on, and capitalize on that one, and then teach about tolerance and diversity at the same time. Of So, like, I think the music industry has touched all of Ethiopia almost. But and when you look at Africa and Ethiopia, for example, I know Ethiopia, that's why I'm saying Ethiopia. So when you look at it, we have the best topography for movies. We have the best landscapes, and like we don't need even visual effects to just do the movies. You have the ground. You just can do it on the ground right there. You have everything that you need, free of people, free of civilization. You can see many things that are possible for the movie industry to capitalize on, but you don't see them going to the outskirts of Ethiopia and doing something entertaining about that. Some musicians did, but like they show you the picture. But I do remember when I was in high school, I do remember a program called Hagere. It means my country. It showed everything that happened in every rural part of Ethiopia, cultural, religious, the belief systems, the value systems. They showed literally every single part of Ethiopia. And I really loved that program because I used to sit down and watch that TV show every night. It's lit right at this time. And then I sit down and I watch, I sleep late, and then I wake up late most of the time. So it was a learning process for me to understand that there are different cultures than mine in Ethiopia. Then it made me
Wow.
understand of them. So like those programs you don't find on TV right now.
Yeah,
None of them.
yeah. And I mean, this world does not want you to know who you are. I mean, bottom line, you do not see anything that's other than we want you to become this robot. We want you to just do this. We want you to behave in this way, and that's it. And it's sad because you know there's a vast sea of different cultures, traditions around this planet that most of us don't know nothing about.
Mm-hmm.
And you're just saying in your one country, and can you imagine how many people used to watch that and how it impacted them? So now you have a connection to everybody in those villages versus
Exactly.
what somebody been saying in your ear. Oh no, you don't want to trust them. They'll do this. Oh really? Okay, so I'll never go over there because I don't feel safe. But then when you look at those movies that you was talking about, like, oh no, they do things like me. Oh yeah, I like the way they do this. Oh, I would love to learn more about how they do this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sure. I still want to actually. I'm still eager to even go and visit all those places that I remember. It's interesting. So this media has a potential to connect Africa. That's what I think. We
But
really need to work on trending views that we need to develop on, like Sam said, and like Had also mentioned, we need to play with the media somehow.
cause, and again, if it's safe for everybody else in this planet to go, why don't we?
Yeah, it is safe. It's just people tell you it's not actually, but most of the time, but it's safe. Um, I think Africa is the safest continent to be honest, especially when you're a guest in Ethiopia or Kenya or anywhere. I think it's safe and it's your home. That's one thing I always remember and keep in mind. Even if it's not safe, at least it's home. You know, it's not
Mhm.
someone else. So that's what I keep telling myself. Even if it's not safe, it's home. That's what I want to believe, and that's what I want to keep inside. But sometimes there are points that you break, and then you say like you don't see anything, you know, like and you remind yourself, okay, I have to see beyond the problem, beyond the crisis, beyond the chaos that's happening. I have to see what's the big game, what's the big show that's coming for Africa.
Right.
Yeah. So
And who
we
benefits the most from it?
exactly. So yeah, I hope one day we will make an epic Ethiopian film about the Battle of Adwa. Hayat says that. Yes, one day. We do have the technology, but we're not doing anything about it. That's also my question. So yeah, the media. I think we really need to work on developing the media. We really need to work on growing our subscribers from 217 to a lot of numbers like millions. To do that, we really need to establish the office like Pi said earlier. We really need to establish the office in Tanzania, and then once we establish that one, we will not only depend on actually on YouTube. We will also depend on like having our airtime in Ethiopian television, state televisions, our own time in Tanzanian state television centers. So we will be using all the medias possible to send out the message of one Africa to all Africans. So for that, I would like to remind you all to go to the GoFundMe and fund the establishment and the inauguration of Africa in Tanzania. And next up, we'll be opening offices everywhere in Africa very soon, and we'll have One Africa products uh, coming up in Africa Potential and Potential in Africa and Thursday show. We'll be developing our own products and selling it within countries and within African states. So basically, we really need to work on growing the media, like Pi said earlier, and also Sam said we really need to create trending views for people to follow up on Swahili Nation and One Africa uh, for entertainment and also fun parts.
Yeah, yeah. That way you get more views, more people keep
Mm.
coming, and more
Yep.
information can be given out to them.
Yep. True. Pi.
Yeah, where we going? What's the next topic?
So, you remember my last week's topic, right? We haven't finished. We haven't closed it because my laptop died. My battery died, so I didn't close that one. So, recapping on that one, ooh, we had a conversation. I don't know what his name was. I think, yeah. Okay, Sam. I want Sam to come live. To be honest, today, because he keeps coming up with really nice ideas, but I keep my eyes on the comment section. I always find Sam commenting
Ebenezer,
on
I,
something.
I always joke that Sam never comes on because it's really Abby.
Ah, okay, that's interesting. That's scary at the same time. Okay, all right. All right, Sam, please come live and let's. Yeah, I think he's really Abby somehow. Huh. You think that's the case?
Yeah, I think it's the case. I mean, how did Nika get connections with Ethiopian Airlines? You have to think, man.
Hmm. We really need a good hacker to find out who Sam is.
Don't you guys
Maybe
have a lot of them in Nigeria, so that shouldn't be hard.
okay. Also, I think yeah, I think we have them everywhere nowadays. So
No, that's just the cliche they keep saying.
Yeah, yeah. See, he's laughing now. He's laughing. So Sam, we want you really to come on the show, and at least we need to hear your voice. You know that to make sure that you're not actually Abby. So yeah.
No, but Abinaz,
So
you know what's funny about that? When they had the African Union speech, there were actually two of I can't remember which one. I think Abbey was one of them. There was another one of the ones that went to the African Union meeting. They were saying the same stuff that we say in the video. So I'm pretty sure some of them watch us.
Oh, always, always. When you're
it's
trying to make
We
a
never know.
difference, you will be, yeah, yeah. I mean, that's like night and day. You know, they talk about China's got their eyes everywhere. America does too. So what's the difference? Zip code.
if you're watching, it's interesting and it's good because somehow they will have the seed of this one Africa concept planted, and there will be, at some point we're gonna run into them, and I think we're gonna understand the fact that we hoping that Sam is not the prime minister, that we finally get the time to.
Uh-oh. I'm speaking
Interesting.
to a head of state. I don't know what to do.
Yeah, and you know what Hayat is saying, Mr. Prime Minister, how do you run a country and find time to come here? So,
That's
Sam,
the
you
whole
better
point.
show
None of them
yourself.
do. They just sit up there and collect the coins and cite papers.
Yeah, and this guy has time. So, Sam, are you or because my next show I'm gonna make about Sam. Like it's gonna be Sam. I'm gonna bring him and I'm gonna say, is he or is he not the prime minister? Because we have to find out. So I'm
Abby,
gonna
He's
be
got
messaging
some
him.
connections. Yeah.
Abby, I am messing with Sam because I know it's mostly probably not true, but if it was, that video get like 10 million hits on YouTube.
I, I think so. Oh man. Oh Sam, still he's laughing. Come on, you can come in. It's the link is there, or do you want me to share it again? Because I can share it again. I can do it. So just join in, Sam. So
Now,
we
see, he's
really
probably
need
in
to get
his
up.
secret
Marie
lab
Antoinette is
where he's
here too.
concocting some things, so maybe he can't, come in.
Oh, okay. Oh, it's fine. It's fine. We just missed the idea of Sam coming live. I think he. I don't know. I don't know, Sam. I'm starting to think of different theories for why Sam is not coming. So I want you guys to develop the same theory, so that we can make a show about Sam, so that people can watch it. I'm gonna make we're gonna make it and we're
So,
gonna
so is,
torture
is,
him.
is he the original Batman? Like how Batman Bruce Wayne has to go to underground to his, lab and all this other stuff, and
Mm-hmm.
it can't
Mm-hmm.
be seen in public without the mask.
Yeah, because he's afraid of the bats. That's funny. It's refreshing actually. Sam, you're still a topic and you're still refreshing us. So thank you for that one at least. That's the least we can say. So yeah, it's interesting. So yeah, so we really need to get out of this paralysis by analysis state, and we really need to have a reality check and go move into action. Move into action. I want to call all Africans and all over Africa and all over the world, in the Caribbean, in the United States. I want all of you guys to just join in this movement of One Africa, establishing the office, inaugurating our own media, and we are committed, and we want you to be committed because it's now or it's never. So we really need it right now. This is the time when the world is at its worst case scenarios. Africa needs to capitalize. It's like God is giving us a break to break through from all the attention on Africa. The attention went to Ukraine and Russia, and the tension between all the bigger states, and Africa is somehow given a break to make a breakthrough. And to make a breakthrough, we really need to come up with a plan and an action. A plan that is designed in 2022 to be implemented in 2023. Exactly. Not to think about it, not to overthink it, not to analyze it too much, just to start it on 2023, to run it on 2023, and then at the end of 2023, we will have another plan and to implement it on 2024. The accomplishments will help us achieve greater things and greater goods for Africa. So we really need to work on with commitment. It won't hurt us, and even if it does, for now, let it be, because leaving a better Africa for the generation to come is the best choice that we could ever make for Africa. Unless we do that now, I don't know when the time is. It's either we change with the time or we go extinct, because change is inevitable and we really need to face the changes that we're facing by now. We really need to adapt to the change. So, yeah, uh, that's my message today. So, if you guys have anything to say,
Well, yeah, we have to break this bond and barrier, and stop looking at each other as being the enemy. Um, just sit down and just talk and try to understand each other's point of view. And you find out that you have more in common than not.
yeah,
And it's always, I always say, who benefits most from your actions? Because every action we do has a counteraction. And if you're not on that list to benefit, don't do it.
yeah, don't do it. Don't do it. If anyone is watching from Congo, if anyone is watching from Rwanda, if anyone is watching from uh, Ethiopia, I mean, many people are actually watching from Ethiopia, from the States and everywhere. For people who are watching from all over the world, um, don't listen to the message that they portray for us. Don't go into fights with your brothers just because they told you that you're right and they're wrong, because their right and their wrong has to be redefined by the African right and by the African wrong and by the African values and by the African tolerance and diversity principles. It has to be reevaluated according to Africa. So we really need to redefine everything according to African values and Africanize our values, Africanize our democracy, if that's the philosophy that we want to continue with, Africanize everything that we have so far, the education system, the media, like we talked about right now, Africanizing it, making it an African media, an African entertainment industry, something that's entertaining about Africa, something that's funny about Africa. So like all those things, we really need to have. We really need to work on that one. I believe that will bring about change, a bigger change for Africa, to be honest. So we really need to work on these issues. So yeah, I mean, there are different movies, there are different stories that were told about Steve Biko, Nelson Mandela, the Sarafina story, the Cry Freedom about Steve Biko. It was a true story. Um, like it's these are the stories, some of the stories that were told, and some of the stories, most of the stories that are not told, the untold stories are there. So we really need to tell those stories, and we really need to remember our heroes, our African heroes, and we really need to have a common hero. Because one guy once asked me, when I was telling him about One Africa movement, I asked him to join. He said, do Africans, as an African, do we have a common hero? Does a Kenyan think Haile Gebrselassie is their hero, their African hero? Does a Sudanese think Haile Gebrselassie is their hero? Do we think Nelson Mandela, as Ethiopians, is our hero? he asked me that question. I didn't even have an answer for it. Like, the simple answer is I don't know if we do consider South African hero as our hero. But I am still attached to the concept because I was a child when I saw the story of Steve Biko, who was killed by police brutality in South Africa. He was fighting for the freedom of Nelson Mandela and uh, the rest of the fighters. And I'm still attached to that story, to be honest. So this is how we can impact by telling the stories, by remembering our heroes. They fought for the freedom of Africans. So we really need to work on that one.
And it's okay to have more than one.
It's okay to have more than one. It's okay to have a million, maybe. It's fine, as long as it's it, they have a Christopher Columbus Day, right? Columbus Day.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
I mean,
but in our community, it's like they don't want us to have. They want us to have the heroes that they choose, and they don't want
exactly.
us to have too many.
Yeah. But they don't have Harriet Day, right?
No,
Harriet Tubman Day.
no,
Yeah.
no. Or
We
Nat
really
Turner.
so yeah, we really need to create those kinds of vibes in Africa. Uh, those kind of naming buildings, naming streets for those people, and teaching about those people. And
So my
what
question is, like, in our capital, it's been a minute since I've been down that way, but in the rotunda, they have all from every state a statue of like some of the most important people in American history. Do you guys have something like that corresponds to that?
the statue of what?
Like, they may have a statue of, I think Jefferson was the Virginia. So the state of Virginia in their area will have a statue of Jefferson and maybe a statue of someone else that was a great leader within that state. And then you go to the next state, next state. So you get in the history of the people who, like help to create the state that you're in and some of the things that they did. I was wondering, do you guys have like a museum? Because you guys got thousands of different heroes, but if it was just a spot that people could go in and say, oh, in Ethiopia, Selassie, and here's some of the other great leaders that we had. In South Africa, there was Mandela and Biko, and here are some of the people, and here are some of the things that would. So every country has a story.
Exactly. And that's amazing, actually, because we have a lot to learn about each other. That gives us an opportunity to know and understand each other better.
And then if you put it on a web page, like SSN web page, then people could flip through all these different people, and then they could go out and search for more information if they want to find out more.
Yeah. Well, once we have our website up and running, I think we can create these kind of outlets so that we can uh, let out information about the fights for independence of South Africa in short and interesting ways, small videos, short videos, and all those things. And at the same time, sharing these topics with all Africans will help uh, Africans know the African struggle that we went through and that we don't want to go again. Like, we don't want to go through that process again because it seems to me right now, the way we're headed, the way we're directed, we want to go again to that through that vicious circle. Uh, I don't know, maybe colonization still might be on the table for Europeans to come back and rethink of recolonizing Africa because we're still fighting each other. We're still waiting for, like, we're still waiting for them to be the mediators between us. when the problem is not us, the problem is them trying to, bring in issues so that we can fight about it, and
Yeah,
so that they can come in as a peacemaker and then, you know, rob Africa again. And
yeah,
then that's what has
and
been
and
done.
the thing here is, like they said, if you don't learn from your past, you're destined to repeat it. So
Exactly.
we have to learn. We have to know the stories. I mean, and me being over in America, just having that resource to find out. Okay, who, Tanzania. Why was it Rhodesia? What was all that behind? What caused this to go in effect? Why are things the way they are now? It's not. I mean, you have to search, and you have to know what you're searching for to get to the answer.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, actually, you're right. Pie.
Yeah, just to continue the conversation you said that you wanted to have from last week, are resources a curse? I actually disagree with you. I think resources are a blessing. I don't think it could be a curse, but I don't know, because you see, wait, Ebenezer, when we talk about are the resources are a curse, are you saying that it's more a curse towards uh, Africa being like independent or economically free, in your opinion? Which one do you think it's more of a curse for in your opinion?
A curse, in a sense, actually it's not a curse in disguise. In a sense, many times people use the word a blessing in disguise, right? When you're going through rough patch, they'll say it could be a blessing in disguise, right? So my point is not that the resources are curse. They're not curse. I'm not saying that. But what my point is, last week's discussion is the resources that we have. I mean, look around the world and look around Africa. For example, I can take you to Japan. If you dig the ground of Japan, you don't find a single resource in the ground. Go to Holland. They built the country, by building 7 dams, and also importing soil and importing many things to their world, and actually, what do you call it, purging out all the water from Holland to the ocean, and then making Holland, or the Netherlands, habitable. So scarcity actually made them strong somehow, and now they utilize every single thing that they have. The Japanese, same thing. They're not individualists; they're socialist uh, people, because scarcity made them strong. And when you look at Japan, Japan has been hit by Hurricane Katrina, or whatever that you call it, the hurricanes that come and go. And I don't know their names, to be honest. They have been hit by hurricanes gazillion times. I mean, maybe many times than we remember. And then they started building buildings that are resistant to even earthquakes. That scarcity, that challenge, environmental challenge, made them very tough to fight the environment back. But when you come to Africa, because where I grew up, guava you don't buy, banana you don't buy, avocado you don't buy, mango you never buy, passion fruit, nope, you don't buy. There are other fruits that I don't even know their names. You don't buy. Basically, we don't buy anything. We just walk into the forest, running with our friends, playing hide and seek, and we eat. That's what happened. That's how I grew up. Not because we planted it, because it was there already. So we didn't plant it. We didn't plant anything. It was there. So we ate all that, and no lunch needed. No thinking of lunch, to work for your lunch, to run for your lunch or for your dinner. So you basically, your environment gives you everything. So we grew up in abundance, and that abundance actually made us really lazy, and it became a curse upon us.
Mm.
Do you get my point?
Yeah, I get your point, but I don't think it's a curse in disguise. In my opinion, I disagree with you because
It's okay.
if
You can
everyone
finish.
had this high, more moralistic view, well, the world's not like that. It's more like I think everyone says, "Oh, we're talking about human rights, democracy, freedom of speech." I don't think any place in the world is like that. I think we're just semi-civilized beings with AK-47s, in my opinion. That's what I think the world is like. If someone can take something from you and they have the political will to do it, they'll just take it from you, and you won't be able to do anything about it. Because even name any black country, if something bad happens, no one cares. It will barely hit the news. Um, and so I don't think it's a curse in disguise. Really, I just think that people. I think you talked about it before. We had a video on like potential in Africa. I think you're saying like you did talk about the resource. Then you said that I forget what you said exactly. Maybe go back to it. But I think one thing that you did say is that what did you say about the resources again? Oh, I think one thing you said that they have to pay the right amount for the resources. They're not doing that.
Hmm.
And I
Yeah.
think another thing that you said was they need the resources. We don't need them, right? And I
Yep.
think another thing that you said, I think there's one more thing that you said about it. I can't remember. But yeah, it's just that people want them from you, right? And we're in this globalized world where it's hyper consumist, where everyone is competing just to be the best imperial power. If the world wasn't like that, Africa would be able to use all of its resources because people would share it willingly. But since the world is not like that, everyone is super competitive. Everyone wants to paralyze each other, genocide each other, take each other's stuff. I think that's the reason why Africa is not benefiting on its own resources and people are really disunited. I don't think it's the resource or itself is a curse in disguise. I disagree with you on that one.
Yeah, it's the mindset of exploitation.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Um,
And
it's it's
and
a
violence
topic to
that
discuss
you feel
on.
like if it's not yours, you can just take it.
Yeah. But okay. Here's what it is. Sam here is saying no, Ebenezer. It's a misconception. Brother, Europe was and is more habitable than Africa. Um, do you agree with Sam right here? Because I don't.
I don't really know much about Europe, to be honest. I
I
barely know
know.
anything.
I don't know about much about Europe, but I had the chance to live and grow up with Europeans, and many of them complain about their weather conditions, their
Harsh
land.
conditions,
Exactly. They will
cold,
tell.
wet,
Yeah. Go on, BJ.
not a lot of food. You know, diverse foods can be grown there because of the conditions.
Okay.
Because if that wasn't the case, why would you need to import everything?
And here's what
But
Dr.
what
Kwame.
they have is a uniformity and unity,
Hmm.
and they stand as one.
Hmm.
So if one's in trouble, the other's going to step up and say, "No, you mess with my brother, you mess with me."
Yep. Yeah, maybe not. But here's one thing. Um, have you read the book that says how Europe, how Africa developed Europe?
You mean underdeveloped? I never read
Huh?
that. How
No,
Africa
how
developed Europe?
developed Europe.
Oh no, I haven't
Um,
read that book before.
I don't know how to say his name. This is I will show you the cover of the page. I'll share it on. I think I can share it on the screen. How Africa developed. Let me put it on. Uh, Sorry. All right. I'm gonna share it with you. You can see it. Share screen. Okay. Um, Here it is. So this is the book. I don't know how to say his name, the guy's name, really. I'm still reading this book because it takes you by surprise. Yeah, Pawazi Nkuzi Hango, I think, if I'm reading that correct. I'm not good at. So it says deconstructing the history of Africa, excavating untold truth, what ought to be done and known. It's an amazing book that how the Europeans actually arrived at the corners of Africa. So it tells you a lot about how the Europeans arrived in actually in Africa. So Africans never had scarcity before. They've never suffered scarcity. So they even travel. I mean, I don't know if you heard that that Africans were the first to discover. Even Ethiopian tribes were found in America before who was the discoverer of America, Columbus, right? So before he found America, uh, Africans were the first one to discover, but they didn't need to inhabit that land because they already have a rich land. So they just focused on their trade. So when the Europeans arrived at the corners, they saw the potential that Africa possesses. So they said we have to really deconstruct this one and like make it available for exploitation because their resources were scarce and their scarcity they suffered made them actually colonize Africa. So this book actually tells you two books: how Europe underdeveloped Africa and how Africa developed. These are two different books that you really need to read.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, I mean, to, to, s- to be specific, they had scarcity, we didn't. So that's the reason that they came to colonize Africa. So for the colonization process to happen, they had what do you call it, a trigger point. But we don't have a trigger point to colonize because our land was rich and we didn't need anything. We just needed to trade with our neighboring states and the trades on the Red Sea and all those things. Those were historically the things that were happening. And even in the phytomedicine world, we provided to the medical world in a bunch, and still we haven't utilized it and we haven't capitalized on that because
But that's it. So, are you saying that let's say one country's like we're tired of this, we're tired of the exploitation, we're tired about not being able to use our own resources, we're tired of being disunited, we're all going to unite, right? And they have
yeah.
all these sanctions on them and it's scarcity. Do you think that and then they united on those three things? Do you think then it would instead of being a curse in disguise, would be a blessing in disguise? Because I think Mali is like that. Mali is an example of that. They just got the what's it called, the sanction taken off of them. I believe it was yesterday, and I believe that the resource that they have now, I believe they'll more what's it called, whatever they have in their country to develop their country. I believe that they'll value it way more that they had what's it called. And from your just me thinking from your perspective, they value it way more now than they did before when that happened. Even ECOWAS put the sanction on. I believe also Europe put sanction them to it, if I remember correctly. I'm not sure. I have to go back and check. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, yeah, okay, maybe. I'm not well aware of that. But okay, now Sam is actually trying to get on my nerve here. Europe has never heard of. Sam, for your information, I have a Dutch friend. Maybe I can invite him on the show and he will tell you the story. The Netherlands had never had water to drink, so they used to drink beer. Did you know that? That's exactly what he said. We couldn't drink the water because we didn't have water. So even children used to drink beer. So they had to evaporate and everything through the process. The water would be disinfected and also poisoned water. We had a groundwater resource that is flowing 24/7 in Ethiopia. And now we figured that out. So if you say Europeans didn't suffer, I mean, ask the Europeans now. To be honest with you, I mean, they'll tell you by themselves. They did suffer because I mean, okay, I have a researcher here also from the Netherlands who's doing research in Ethiopia. I can also bring him on the show maybe if I meet him next time. Uh, he is an amazing guy. He said, "You are poor people living on rich country." This is what he exact words that he said, and he said, "I am a rich person living on a poor country." He is from the Netherlands. He said, "I can buy anything I want in Ethiopia, but in the Netherlands, the land that we own is so poor that we have to recycle and reuse every single thing that we produce. But you guys don't even plant mangoes here. We don't plant avocados here. We don't plant any fruit in our country. We would rather make our garden beautiful. That's what we want." So Sam, for your for this, my response is maybe you haven't known Europe and maybe you haven't had European friends, but I had many of them. I still have many of them. So they will tell you that they have suffered in the past.
So isn't the majority of Europe mountainous? So how many droughts do you have in the mountains?
What?
Sam was saying Europe has never heard of a drought, but isn't most of Europe mountainous? How many droughts do you have in the mountain? That's like
Exactly. I mean, the word drought came from the UK, right? I mean, it's an English word. If they
yeah.
didn't know the drought, how would they name it? Sam,
And,
answer that question.
well, and then on the flip side, they probably discovered what it was because just like parts of where I'm at, you overexploit the land to the point that nothing will grow there anymore. So you have vast forests that were there for centuries that were just constantly cut, and then becomes a desert.
Exactly. So, Sam, I'm still expecting your answer. So, Kai, do you have anything to say to this one?
I don't know. Again, I know like zero about Europe, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, okay, if that's the case, then okay. But to be honest, I mean, you name something you know. So the British named drought because they knew drought. They felt drought. Uh, they named famine because they knew famine and they felt famine. If you've never been angry, you wouldn't know the feeling, so you wouldn't name the feeling. Let's say
And
there
many of their battles was fought about the waterway.
exactly
They fought their main battle, their main resource was having access to water.
true.
Being landlocked, that's where you get the term landlocked. Landlocked was not a good thing.
I think most of the recent wars now that is starting to happen in the world now is because of water. Like, well, I mean, I know I'm sure everybody knows about that.
Yeah, go on.
Like, India and China, they're fighting over water. Egypt and Ethiopia, they're fighting over water. Even the countries in
Yeah,
Europe fighting over water.
yeah,
Even the seaways, everyone's fighting over the sea, trying to control the sea, violating international law of the sea. Everyone fights over water these days. It seems like in 2022.
Well, I mean, they're saying the sun is heating up. Things are, becoming droughts. The West Coast here is like so many wildfires is unreal. So yeah, water is critical.
Yeah.
That's like the first
Okay.
stage of. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah. Okay. Sam is again. Sam is here with his comment. The European coastline is twice that as Africa's. Okay. Yeah. African African shores are too shallow and the rivers are too wild and inconsistent to allow Africans to become seafaring people. Okay.
Then how did y'all get over here to the Americas? Wait, y'all was using the same tire I'm trying to use to get back. Okay, I got it.
I know what he's doing, so I'm not gonna reply to
I
any
think
of
Sam
these.
is trolling.
Nobody thinking about Sam right now.
So actually, yeah. So the point is, Pi, to come into agreement with you. I'm not saying that the resources are cursed. We turn them into curse to ourselves. Curse is a state of mind for me. It's not the resources that are cursed. The fact that we have all of the resources around us made us lazy, and it's just a simple fact that we are not using it up to its potential. We're not working. We're not work ethic. Our work ethic is poor. Our work ethic is very low, and sometimes uh, you get ashamed of working with your own people because we don't want to work. And there is even like people like in my last show, I said there are some people who believe that poverty is better than getting rich, getting wealthy. And
So,
yeah, okay,
so is it the ethic or the perception?
it's
If
all
I
about
have a poor perception of you, I'm going to take on all those. You're lazy. You don't want to do things right. You don't. You're never on time. You never do this. You never do that. Where if someone else from another group does the same thing, then oh well, it's because they have all these things that they have to contend with and deal with, and so we have to be understanding to their situation.
hmm yeah. I mean, yeah, okay. Perception. So the blessings are not. I mean, they're not curses, but our perception towards our own resources is poor. Maybe I can change it to that one.
Yeah, and therefore we give it no value.
But that's,
Exactly.
you know what's funny about that is comparing Africa to the Caribbean, where I'm from. Actually, the most Pan Africanist country has the least amount of resources as well. Could you
True.
imagine that? The one that's
True.
reaching out to Africa and trying to bring the diasporas back home, especially the high school professionals.
Me Haiti,
That no, Barbados. Mia
Barbados,
Mountain, our
yeah,
prime
yeah,
minister.
yeah.
I'm Vincentian, but in the Caribbean, like she's trying to bring like the high school professionals back to the Caribbean, the ones that are from that descent. She's also reaching out to like countries like Kenya, South Africa, those kind of nations to try to get help. They recently declared independence from Commonwealth. But anyway, yeah, the one that has the least amount of resources, like the least amount of oil, gold, gas, they're actually the ones that are trying to get ahead, trying to compete, trying
hmm
to become independent.
But the interesting thing about Barbados, it was at one point was it not called Little Britain? So they know they know the whole story. So they're not going into this blind, and they know the benefit of doing that is going, and the benefit of creating those connections is going to benefit both sides because they know the end game on the
I
other
mean,
side.
they were the first slave society, so I guess they're just tired of it. They just want to be independent.
No, I mean on a sense of how she's trying to make sure that the infrastructure is taken care of, and she's as a politician, she's focused on resolving the issues. Where in most country, a politician's interested in when is the next state dinner, when is the next podium, so I can get this check cut for me. When can I have my family come to me to this summit over here versus resolving real issues.
Yeah, yeah, that's true.
But yeah, I did find that interesting. Now that you said that other resources are cursed in the skies, like there are countries that have way more resources than that country, but they're not the ones that are advancing as fast. So I don't know. Maybe you're right. I have no idea. I have to look into
Yeah,
it.
that's my fear. Like, are those resources, the abundance, is the abundance holding us back? That's my fear, because scarcity, it's like this. Take it this way, Pi. When you're faced with different challenges in life, when you're facing different issues in life, it kind of strengthens you into maturing emotionally, at the same time trying to resolve your problems by yourself, because you've tried sharing it with people, you've tried talking to people about it, you've tried everything, you've wasted all the resources that you have. Then at the end of the day, you'll have a sit down by yourself, and you will have a discussion with you, and then you'll say, like, what if I do it this way, what if I try this way, if I do this way. Then all the challenges that you're facing, you try to resolve them by yourself. But if you don't have a challenge, if it's a walk in the park, if life is a walk in the park, let's say you're living with your family, you haven't joined college, or you're in college and still living with your family and everything, then they facilitate everything. You have your own car, you have your own budget and everything. So, like, you don't get to solve anything by yourself. You don't get to face the challenges of life. But when you're by yourself, you start facing those challenges. You start facing like scarcity. Like, for example, do you live with your parents right now? Hi, hi. Okay, so if you stop living, the second you stop living with your parents, that's when you start leaving your comfort zone. So when you leave your comfort zone, then you start struggling for your survival. When you start surviving, then you start facing challenges, and those challenges make you stronger and better. And like, you don't have enough on your hand. You learned how to improvise, how to compromise, how to take loans, return loans, and all those things. Then you start coming up with plans and ideas that can change the way you're facing your problems. You will have another perspective of facing your problems, changing the obstacles, removing the obstacles that are holding you back. All those things. When you're blessed, though, when you have everything that you need in your environment, you don't put an effort towards changing and utilizing your resource. That's my fear. Could those resources be curse in disguise?
I think the mindset is the curse.
Exactly, the mindset. Okay.
I don't think
Evan,
it's
you
the
know what's funny about
resources,
that?
because with the resources, at no point did you guys not say there's enough we could share. It's that mindset. Why on the people on the opposite side didn't say, well, they're willing to share it with us. We have no problems. We're able to get everything we need.
Yeah.
We're all okay. No, they like, we want total domination. And then if you think about it, resources, we don't have any resources in the Americas, but yet those same oppressive systematic institutions are still oppressing us. So why is that the case? Because we have no resources, yet you still want to keep that foot on the neck. So
But
it's that mindset.
BJ, don't forget that you guys have resources that are being stolen from all over the world and brought to the USA. If I say this and if I get a strike, Mika's gonna kill me. So I don't want to. I don't want to keep going and digging into that one. But you're right. I mean, but still, don't forget that there are resources coming in, flowing to your country, and then for that purpose, they will oppress you, because if you start questioning all those things. I'm gonna go back to pi, but before I do that, the difference between my argument and everybody else's is that I say your environment shapes you. Everybody else is saying without knowing. We are innately dumb and less than everybody else. Sam, okay. She, all right. Sam is saying that, and Sam also said, uh, yes, religion is the biggest problem in Africa. Okay. And Hayat says, I don't think they're saying we're innately dumb, but our resources and cultures could be contributing factors to our situation. Thank you, Hayat. You
That's the
explained it.
main factor.
Yeah. So, Pi, go on,
But
continue.
you know what's funny about that? Just to go to a personal example. With me, maybe that is true because when I was learning Mandarin, right, in the U.S., I used to be a polyglot. I used to be able to speak and think of 5 different languages, and I had way less resources. But I go to a top school I go to a top school in Taiwan learning Mandarin, right? I have a lot more resources. But I would
Yeah.
say that I was a lot more intelligent when it came to languages in the US when there's limited amount of resources than where I am now when there's a lot. So maybe I don't know. I don't know. Africa's like that as well. I don't know.
It could be, right? There's a possibility it's a in disguise where we made it a curse. They're not cursed, but we made it a curse upon us. But we're I don't know.
And I will only say the curse is that when you stop fighting for what is yours,
I may be wrong.
then who's going to fight for you? You know, if you're not going to fight for what you own, like, oh yeah, you just come in here, you can take my car, you can take my, oh yeah, the girl down the street, she's not going to fight, she got the doors open, just go in and take whatever you need. And then you wonder why 40, 50 people coming into your house, and you wonder why there's nothing in you don't even have a fridge anymore, is because you never tried to stop it.
I have a question. When it comes to the money, I'd say the resources are more important than money. Why don't we just what if they destroy all the currencies? Why don't they just use the resource itself as money? Why don't
Because
they
they
go
don't
back to
have
the
any.
past?
We can, to be honest, we did that. We were using whatever we had to create the trades that we were creating in Africa. That's what the Europeans saw, the potential to create that uh, that we were using, the marketing system that we were using. And if you read the book that I just shared with you guys, you would
Mm,
understand. I mean, that's actually he excavated everything that needs to be known since
mm,
a pre-colonial, colonial, and post-colonial. Pre-colonial period, how it happened, how we were living, how we were coexisting. We did have tribal wars and everything and all those things, but at the same time, we did trade because I'll give you wheat, you'll give me barley. I'll give you mango, you'll give me avocado. Like that's a currency. Basically, they took all the gold and the diamond and they took it there and they said at the end of the line they took everything that we have and then they started saying we need a currency.
Yeah,
So
and then,
you're
and that currency
mm.
and that currency creates that gap, because again, what do you use that currency to trade for? The barley and the wheat
But
and the
exactly.
bread.
the currencies are useless without the resources. If you have a currency but
Exactly.
you have no
Exactly.
resources or you don't have the potential to exploit other people's resources, your currency is worthless.
So then question
Currency is
becomes,
garbage.
why is now that currency that's been created by somebody else that has an imaginary value from someone else more valuable than the things that you need to buy with it?
And I want you to please uh, pi as pi. Have you listened to Malens Bart Williams?
Malens Barth Williams? No.
Yeah.
Who's that?
Okay, that's an assignment for you for today. I want you to. It's a 17-minute video. I want you to watch that because that actually changed my life. To be honest, that actually
Can you
made
post it
me
in the back chat?
I, copyrights, but I will show you the just highlights, not the video, but I will.
No, no, I mean the name so I can type it in myself.
Oh, okay. I will send it in private chat. I'll I'll just post it in the private chat. You can see it there. It's Malens Bart Williams. Uh, TED show, TEDx show. So find a watcher because she was puzzled by some of the things that she learned. She's learned in the best universities in Germany. She's from Sierra Leone, and the way she explains it will give you all the answers. The currency that was generated, like you said, if there is currency and there's nothing to buy, what's the point of having a currency? One thing. And they stole all the gold. They took everything and every single uh, thing that we have, and then at the end of the day they said, you know what, let's develop a currency. And they, at any time they want, in European banks, they don't actually limit your currency. You can print it anytime, anywhere in Europe. But when it comes to Africa, it is related to something. You can't print some amount of money. You can only print certain amount of money. So,
But that's because of the special drawing rights. This is because of the International Monetary Fund. There are 5 currencies that they have special drawing rights, meaning it's almost impossible to destabilize it. That's the U.S. dollar, the British pound, the Japanese yen, and I think the euro and the pound. I think I said that correctly. But yeah,
and
anyway, the RMB. Yeah, the
look at
Chinese
the
currency.
countries you mentioned, right? They are the superpowers that have been robbing the world.
forever.
Right.
So, uh, who gave them the whatever RNB and RNB rights and all those things? Still. But before I go to the next, Hayat said, as the saying goes, necessity is the mother of all inventions. So, in that regard, maybe it's true. Thank you, Hayat. I mean, I've been observing the conversation between Hayat and Sam, and Hayat, I really would love, I mean, to thank you so much for the response that you gave to Sam, and I'm loving the way you're responding, and Sam, I'm loving the way you're triggering issues, and I hope you're not the prime minister still. Like
Gotta
very
do more research.
so still, it's interesting. What Sam brings always is interesting, and I'm happy that I have him here. I have you guys here too. So yeah, uh, as the saying goes, necessity is the mother of all inventions. So in that regard, maybe it's true. That's my fear. Necessity makes you push harder, push harder, and then you'll bring the best out of yourself because of the necessities that you have around you. But for as
So
an
in
aside,
Africa, is that causing you guys to push harder because of what you've been going through for the last 500 years?
because that's why we're not pushing that harder. You see, we're not pushing hard because many of them are pastoralists. They just have more than 1,000, 2,000 herds of cattle, goats, sheep, and everything. So basically, they don't need to work that hard. They can drink milk anytime. They can eat meat anytime. So it's like a barbecue every day. You know. So why should they
Abanaz,
push?
Abanaz, these pastoralists in the Horn, they're getting affected by drought. I remember I saw it even in I think it was I don't like calling it Ogaden, Somali region, Ethiopia, and
Yeah,
Somalia. You see all these different cattle just dying like everywhere.
yeah.
That industry's not going to be there forever. It's going to
But
get harder and
still,
harder to do that type of industry. The
but still,
pasture society.
they're not still pushing harder because it's funny for me. There is a place called Borana in Ethiopia where always there's a drought season, a famine season that hits them all the time, but the people never want to plant anything at all. There has been many NGOs, many governmental organizations, and non-governmental organizations trying to help them develop a system where they can plant and like feed themselves. But the people don't want to change. They say, "Yeah, we'll get through it." Then when push comes to shove, the people of Ethiopia will bring their hands together and they'll help them out, and then at the end of the day they get through that point, and it's just a couple of months, like a month or 2 months, then the rainy season starts right away. Then after that the rain comes, everything is back to normal pastoralist life, cattle are alive. There's grass everywhere. So like, but when you go to that land, the beauty of that land is you don't even need to plow it. You can put your finger in the ground and put corn or maize seed. It will grow without a fertilizer. But no one does that. That's the funny fact. We're not pushing hard because the soil is fertile. We're not pushing hard because our environment is okay. It's like we're okay people. It's gonna be okay. Like everything will be all right. Even the song says everything will be all right. It's like,
But what about the street
Right.
children? I mean, are they pushing to try to change their circumstances?
no, no one is pushing for them either. And even if like even if you try to develop a system for them, they would run away from it. They would rather be on the streets. The government tried and they couldn't succeed because they run away. And this is like a juvenile. You'll have to have a juvenile center for them so that they can be. That's also prisoning them. So that's actually wrong. I mean, you have to have a circumstance where you want to change your life. But when you tell people, I can help you out, have something to start with, and they'll say, nah, come on, I won't succeed in that. I would rather keep doing this. So it could be, if there is no necessity, if there's no scarcity, there's no invention. And I keep saying this, problems are business opportunities. When you see a problem, if you capitalize on that, then you have a business that you run with.
True.
So that's my opinion. But so yeah, Hayat, yeah. Hayat said here, I mean, I just read that Qatar is funding cloud seeding projects for the Horn of Africa. Why didn't Africans do that? Sure. Why didn't Africans fund it? Because greed, selfishness? I don't know.
And it's Qatar funding it because all the resources is going back to Qatar. So then
Of
they're
course.
so then they're gonna
I,
make money off of it.
of course. Simple. Obvious. Because in Ethiopia we don't have many things. Many of the things that are endemic to Ethiopia are being exported to China. Many of the quality products that are being produced with cheap labor in Ethiopia are being exported to China. Everything that is produced, basically, we don't have anything. They export it, we import it back, foreign currency exchange, and then wow.
And go into debt and get something less than what you sent. So what are you guys thinking about the parliament being built by China in Zimbabwe then?
I know. I just got that notification. I didn't even know that. Literally like 20 seconds ago.
Huh? Sorry, I didn't hear you guys.
The parliament, the $100 million parliament being built by China for Zimbabwe.
To be honest, uh, Chinese are business people. I understand that one. They're not invading like the United States and the UK, but they're invading in a different strategy. So,
So it's still an invasion. Just
so
because you don't use the same technique, if it's the same outcome, what's the
exactly.
difference?
But here is my argument. If we are not going to wake up and utilize it, why would we even fight it if they wake up and utilize it for us? it's, it's, it's a funny story. Yeah. Hello?
Hmm. I
PJ, are
mean,
you there?
until people start to change, nothing will change.
Yeah. The mindset we need to work on. We need to start working on the mindset, I think. BJ?
Hmm.
Are you there?
Yeah, I
Can you
am.
hear me?
Yeah, I can
Okay.
hear you.
All right. Okay. Pi, are you there?
Hi.
Yeah, I'm still here.
Okay.
Okay. So, this has been interesting, actually. I hope you guys enjoyed tonight's show.
Oh yeah.
Um, I hope we made sense. Um, yeah, Sam has a big question for all of you guys, including me. How can we change a whole population's mindset?
One person at a time.
Wow, that was quick. Okay. Okay, BJ. Thanks. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay.
But yeah, Abinaz, I'll definitely. I don't know about the books. Money's kind of tight where I am right now, but I'll definitely watch that video you talk about, or if I can try to find a free PDF version of those books that you talked about. I'll definitely watch
Uh,
that.
but I can. You want me to send you the link though?
Yeah, I have the link. I found the video you're talking about. I know exactly what you're talking about now.
Exactly. Watch Mullins, then you'll understand. She'll give you actually a good insight. And then, to be honest, she's a very inspiring person, and uh, she did inspire me a lot. So yeah. Oh yes. You know what Sam is saying here, guys? He said they're watching the video I sent them. They'll come back next time and say, "Damn, Sam was right." Hey, why
What
didn't you
what
send me
video
the
is he
video?
talking about?
I don't know. This prime minister guy is very, very, very annoying.
You know, he's like all prime ministers. They have big egos. They think everybody believe everything they say, but we don't.
Damn, we
They
don't.
just have nice buffets.
Wait, BJ. I can't say that. Like I can't say that. You can say that because you're not. I'm here, so I can't say that. So, Sam, please send it. Let's see the video, and maybe I might say I'm an open person. I will say if I'm wrong, I'll say I'm wrong.
So which point is the video about? Because he's had so many of them, I couldn't keep up with all of them.
I have no idea. He hasn't sent it to me, so it's not going to be easy. Hayat is saying it's not going to be easy, but instead of focusing on West, we need to acknowledge we are the main problem and start from there. Oh my God, are you
Yes, yes,
are
yes.
you really reading my mind? Hayat is like this is what I have been saying. If you listen uh, to the potential videos that I've been making, you can see that actually I've been saying this again and again. Let's just not point our fingers to the West or to anybody else. Let's just focus on ourselves. Let's work on ourselves. Let's solve our problems by ourselves. So we are the problem. They have never been the problem. Yes, they made the problems, they made a mess out of us, but it's our turn to clean up our mess and work for our survival. Thank you for sharing that opinion with us. You actually made this show so good. All right, okay, and watch that video. All right. Don't forget that it's the French who trained our first pilots, the British who helped kick out Mussolini, Americans who helped establish our airlines, etc. True, true. 100%, 100% I agree with you. They're not the only problems. They did contribute to some of the problems. They were also part of some of the solutions, and there are also good people in Europe, in the West, and you're right. We shouldn't be pointing our fingers at everyone. We should be pointing our fingers to ourselves and saying we have to take the responsibility. We are responsible for Africa remaining poor, for Africa remaining disunited, We are the problem. We are the only problem, and we are the only ones holding Africa back. If you want to see the problem that you if you want to see the reason, if you want to find out the reason why you're still there, you're still stuck, go look in the mirror. That's the problem. You are the problem. I am the problem. We as African are the problem for African poverty. We are the reason for African poverty. We really have to come to that point. And I'm loving this too, Sam. I love the mindset that Hayat is providing here. So, yeah, maybe she'll come next time. Unlike you, who's hiding behind the screen, she might come and share with us her opinions and thoughts maybe in the next shows. If we use the West to benefit us in the past, we can do the same now. If we can, yeah. Oh, man. Jeez, you're reading my mind now. Okay. All right. Yeah, I like Hayat. Okay. You like Hayat. I like the mindset. Oh, good. And I like Hayat too. Really. I like her mindset. It's an amazing thing that she was sharing with us. You guys have made this show amazing. Sam, thank you very much for being here. You've been always an important part. Hayat, thank you for making this show live again, and give it life and bring it back to life. So, yeah, uh, Pi, SNN, um, Marie Antoinette. Um, Marie Antoinette was here in the comment section. Um, Also, BJ Riggs is part of this show. Thank you guys for making this show a reality, and for throwing your opinions and enlightening us. Despite the differences that we have, we're enlightened by your opinions, and it's been an amazing journey up to this hour of the night. So yeah, thank you everyone. I'm going to wrap up. Shagao, thank you very much. Shagao Mari was trying to connect and he was disconnected due to network. I hope everybody was listening to our show tonight. BJ Riggs, Regmon, Regman Music, Grace and Peace. That was the beginning. At the beginning, he was here. So thank you, Regmon. Thank you, BJ Riggs. Thank you, Pi. Thank you, Sam. Thank you, Hayat. Thank you, Shego, and everybody who has been watching and listening to our show. Even though if you were not commenting, don't forget to share, subscribe. Yeah. All right. BJ Riggs says you guys are straight on point. Thank you, BJ. Sam, thank you. Hayat, thank you very much. Yeah, thank you guys. Really, it's been an honor to be with you guys in this show tonight. I had an amazing conversation with all of you. Some of you in comment sections, some of you live in the show, and thank you for helping me make this show. So for tonight, I'm going to end it with this. I'm going to give you an assignment to watch Malens Bart Williams TEDx show. Watch it, get inspired, and let's come up with a new idea, a bright idea for Africa, a bright solution. Let's come up with a solution for Africa, all of you. And thank you, God, for this amazing night, an amazing show, and for giving us amazing people that I just mentioned. And you guys stay blessed, stay protected by God, and may until we meet again, I'm going to end my show here. And if you have anything to comment, you can share it on WhatsApp group and we will be there. So Sam, thank you very much, really. Even if like we have our disagreements, I really like the points that you always raise, and thank you very much for making me think critically and read and research more. So yeah, thank you, Sam, and thank you, Maria Antoinette. Hayat, good night. Sam, good night. Everyone, good night. BJ Riggs, good night. I hope you have an amazing good day or good night. Yeah, I hope you have an amazing week until we meet next week. This is it for me. Bye bye.